Esteban Romero with All American Print Supply, here chopping it up with the Squad Creative Podcast on the TSH Network.
Once again, you're rocking with the Squad Creators Podcast. My name is Seak, Parris. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook at 12 Gone Apparel.
Mike T's the other half of the Squad Creative Podcast, also on Insta and all social media platforms. And we have our special guest. Could you please introduce yourself, sir?
Absolutely. It's Esteban Romero with All American Print Supply. You're chopping it up with the Squad Creative Podcast on the TSH Network. You can find me on all your different social media platforms, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, you name it. It's going to be at AA Print Supply Co.
Awesome.
Yeah, man. And I'm Seak Parris, 12 Gone Apparel. Welcome to Squad Creators Podcast. Let's get to it.
Happy to be here.
How do we get to All American Print Supply Co? Can you tell us the history of All American Print Supply?
Yeah, absolutely. A little background on the company. Established in 1986, built out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Kind of the foundation where we got started was mainly in the screen print and the pad printing realm. But since then, we've expanded to 3 branches, strategically placed nationwide. Texas, we just opened 2 summers ago. I myself, mostly based out of our California location. We're in Orange County, kind of by Knott's Berry Farm, Disneyland. Right. We've expanded our focus to all the digital. So my emphasis is going to be on the direct-to-garment, the sublimation, and the direct-to-film. But we really cover everything from your UV, solvent, latex, small format, wide. Try to cover all our bases, every budget, every production volume.
That's dope.
That is.
So I'm going to ask, what have you learned so far? And how long have you been doing it yourself?
Goodness, myself, I got my start back in 2008. I was talking to Mike a little bit, learned silkscreen in the backyard with kind of a starving artist sort of friend that I met. He had a little 4-station, 2-color manual silkscreen press. Mm-hmm. We were hand printing, drying with the flash cure. All of our friends were musicians. So it was kind of connecting with them and a platform at the local shows to move this product so it can kind of pay for itself and grow. So that's really where I got my start back then. In the mid 2010s, I got more into the digital side, a little more on an educational kind of basis, emphasizing this is more of your vinyl cutting, sublimation, your heat transfer paper. It was there I kind of got more into the broadcasting a little bit, if you could say. I hosted a weekly educational program on YouTube, on Facebook Live for almost 2 years on a weekly basis. We had a national audience. And then from there, I was able to kind of expand more into the, I'd say, commercial or industrial level equipment and production as far as the printing is concerned. And that really brings me to where we are now, the All American Print Supply, one of the leading distributors of the digital printing. You guys know our focuses. You see us at every trade shows. So that kind of takes me to the present day.
Wow, that's awesome, man. That's extensive journey right there. You, I actually just seen a video not too long ago with you were with the inventor of direct to garment.
That is right. You're talking about Epson's very own Matt Rome. Not a lot of people know this, but he does own the patent on the original inkjet direct to garment technology. So he really changed the game as far as, how we print, what we're able to print. And happy to say he's kind of a personal friend. He's one of the higher ups with Epson. We got a great relationship, one of the best in the business. Happy to partner with folks like Matthew Rome, like the Epson company, the products they offer, the way they stand behind their equipment. They make our jobs really easy.
That's cool. Man, I want to ask since the beginning, how has American Print Supply impacted the industry as a whole?
That's a great question. I would definitely try to say that we try to bring a lot of dynamicy, a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm to what we do. There's a select number of distributors of the line of products that we focus on. And, you got to stand out. People have their options. So we are all selling, a lot of the same equipment. What's going to separate you is the service you're going to provide. The after-purchase support, I would say, is definitely the main thing. But I would definitely say the energy that we try to bring to everything we do, if it's at the trade show, if it's in our content, because printers, it might not be the most exciting stuff. We're not talking about the X Games or anything here. So we try to make it engaging, try to keep their attention. And, anybody can do this. So if we can hold their attention, educate them along the way of this path, and show them what's possible. We've been able to help so many different businesses either grow or get their start. So that's really been one of the best parts.
That's cool, man. So
I really love that fact that you guys cater not to just at home crafters, but into businesses, all walks of crafting / professional lives. That's awesome.
No, absolutely. We all start, somewhere. So we don't want anyone to be excluded out, and we don't also want to put a ceiling on anybody. You could have that shirt that goes viral, or that, endorser who wears it at the right event, and your production could be, over your ears at that point. So we want to make sure that we're able to, help them get their start, stabilize, but also grow with them as their needs increase.
Wow.
Cool. So you guys do a lot of different things, man. What kind of trends are you seeing right now? What's happening in the industry?
Well, I would say over the last 2 years, I've seen a tremendous spike in interest and activity and popularity in the direct-to-film. So when it started, we're seeing machines being repurposed, coming out from all across the globe, all sorts of different supplies. I tell us to folks, I was a little later to the game personally with the direct-to-film because, one, we wanted to make sure that the products that we were providing in this upcoming trend, this new wave, were safe for the customers and safe for the manufacturing staff to operate and produce around, and then also safe for their customers. It's something we were going to be able to support, because we put out a product that's not sustainable, that's going to be headaches for everybody. So I learned the direct-to-film actually on our DTG printers. And since then, we've seen the emergence of machines that are actually built for direct-to-film. So that's, I'd say, probably with the main trend. If you're around any of these trade shows, if you're on the YouTube, things like that, a lot of people are really excited about direct-to-film printing, what it's capable of, and what they're able to offer with it now.
So for the few people that don't know, can you kind of just give us an overview of what DTF or what direct-to-film is?
Absolutely. DTF, direct-to-film, is just what it sounds like. You're using printers to print your images direct to a special film. Now, the process of this is going to be a certain amount. Like, my background's in direct-to-garment. I'm DTG all day. If I put DTG level ink, that amount, onto film, it's going to puddle, it's going to pool. Additionally, we're kind of reversing the order of the print. Silkscreen, direct-to-garment, you're usually seeing a white base, CMYK on top, and normally printed. With direct-to-film, we're reversing that. So you have CMYK and then a white overprint, and we're also mirroring it. So if you have a roll printer, if you have a desktop setup, if you have a DTG printer, you print your image onto your film, just how we said, reduced amount, CMYK, then white overprint. After that, I got wet film or wet ink on a film. What you do next is you apply what's called hot melting powder. This is the bonding agent that's going to allow these high-resolution printed images to transfer onto a huge wide variety of different materials and fabrics. With DTG, you're going to get your best results with mostly cotton or cotton-based blends. With the direct-to-film, I can work with materials now that are normally meant to repel water, stay dry. It's a water-based textile ink. So things like windbreakers, treated nylon, leather, wallets, poly, rayon, all sorts of things that would maybe be trickier, a little outside the box. So backing up there, you have your wet print, you apply the hot melting powder, you need to dry that melting powder onto the wet ink. So when I learned it, I was hovering my heat press above the transfer, and that worked. It wasn't the most efficient way or the fastest. If you have a conveyor dryer, you could drop it on the belt with the right settings. You're going to have a fully cooked, ready to apply transfer at the end of it. But for folks who maybe don't have the electrical or the space for a big conveyor dryer, we recently have seen a lot of little ovens coming out. We have a few options on our website, where basically you open the drawer, place your film, wet ink with the powder on there, close it, you hit the button, and at the end, you have a transfer that is either ready to be applied. You can store this for later use. You can send this to somebody. If they have just a heat press in your transfers, they're basically a full-blown print shop. Additionally, you can sell these as a service, which we're seeing a lot of spike in as well. People selling transfers for folks. So the possibilities are really limitless here. What I feel with direct-to-film.
That's pretty cool.
I gotta ask. I've never done direct-to-film or direct-to-garment DTG at all. I do have a print shop. And I'm working on a second print shop. What would you advise for a person that's never worked with direct-to-film or direct-to-garment? Which printer would you point me to?
Okay, so for this particular example, this case study here, you have a print shop, you have established client base, you have the production volume already in place. I feel, especially you saying you hadn't done DTG, you hadn't done DTF before, the direct-to-garment printers, they're able to do both. You can load the film on just as easy as a T-shirt. You're going to be saving approximately 30-40% as far as how much ink you're producing for film when compared to a T-shirt. So that's a great way to have a dual function threat there. And that's what I would advise definitely for someone who, like I said, has a business. You already have that customer base. You know you're going to be able to keep that machine running. Your orders are going to be coming in. That's what I'd say would be for that particular case study. Now, if you're talking about maybe going fully focused on DTF, we have that Muto. It's the kind of a collaboration between the Japanese Muto printing company and STS Inks. Yes. So they got together and they made an actual dedicated DTF printer. It's 24 inches wide, so you can have this running continuous roll production, 36 square feet an hour, which is pretty decent output, I would say. And you can load individual cut sheets. So you're not always forced to, run a big production. Say you just need a small pieces, a one-off. There's 2 buttons on the machine. It's power and cut. So you have your roll loaded. That's a lot of different ways you can attack it. So I'd say from your standpoint, as an established print shop looking to get into it, I think a DTG printer like the Epson F2100, which is going to cover both bases, give you the best DTG, give you those direct-to-film printing opportunities. But if you're looking to focus solely on the DTF, that Muto, it's one of the few for DTF, Japanese design, has warranty, has support. Yeah. We're doing a lot of stuff with Zoom these days. The world's in a different place. We actually have weekly live Zoom training classes for our printer customers. So some sessions will have one person, sometimes we'll have a few. We try to tailor it to who's in the audience, what the questions are, what their goals are. So, we're getting creative here, but it's opening up a lot of doors.
So let me ask, what are the pros and cons, if you can give us a brief explanation of those for each machine? Let me ask, what are the pros and cons for DTG versus DTF?
Okay. If we're looking at pros and cons, DTG versus DTF, I would say you are going to be saving a little bit of ink when you're going with the direct-to-film route. As we mentioned, you can't put DTG level ink onto film. So you're going to be saving some ink there. Additionally, the main part, I'd say the lifeblood of direct-to-garment printing is going to be the pre-treatment. It's probably the main, if not the only learning curve. To touch on that for a second, pre-treatment, I want you guys to think of as a liquid bonding agent. It's something we apply to the garment pre-print. That's the only way we're going to be able to print white ink. So if the T-shirt is not white, 9 times out of 10, we're going to need a pre-treat. We're going to need a white underbase. So with the direct-to-film, that step is replaced by the hot melting powder we talked about. Additionally, I would say, if you have a good printer, your art resolution, your quality, if you're putting in a good size file, you shouldn't really see much of a loss in quality. It should be pretty comparable there. Another pro I would say for the direct-to-film, you're going to have a lot of different fabric options. So things like the treated nylon, the treated leather, those are meant to repel water. It's meant to keep you dry, safety vests and such. This is water-based textile ink. That's when printed direct-to-garment, it feels amazing. If you have good artwork and a DTG printer, you can really compete, I'd say, quality-wise with any retailer, any brand out there as far as the quality of your final product. So being able to work with those different materials, we've done hats, wallets. You guys ever stop by one of our booths? We got a whole rack of awesome samples you guys can take a look at. Now, to go further, I would say, as far as hand feel, I got to give the nod to the DTG. If we're doing smaller transfers, smaller prints, it's pretty close. But when you get into huge coverage areas, a transfer is still going to feel like a transfer. You definitely get the job done in a very visually appealing way. But if you have a huge print, the DTG, water-based, direct onto the material, that's going to give you a better hand feel. Now, as far as washability, if we're drying and curing these print processes at the recommended settings, you should be still looking at around 50 washes. So not a huge drop off there. Again, visually, you should have similar quality as long as we're working with decent resolution artwork. And by that, I mean above 300 DPI for our graphic designers out there. But, it's close. Like you said, definitely pros and cons to each. I think they both definitely have their place. Neither one's going anywhere anytime soon.
No.
Awesome.
So you mentioned the impression show, and we're talking DTF. That's really all you saw in Long Beach.
Yeah.
They're taking over the industry for sure.
It's like we said, these last 2 years, it's gone crazy, and it's become a lot more accessible. I remember pre-COVID, when I was still sales teching here in the office, I was reaching out. We're all in this Facebook groups, we're all in the forums, trying to see what's good, see what's new, who we can help, who we can connect with. And I reached out to someone when I first started hearing, I'm like, hey, so what does a full DTF setup look like? And they hit me back and it was like, well, you're starting probably about 25,000 before international freight. I'm like, oh, that sounds so expensive. So, yeah. I mean, the F2100, which does both, that's under 15K. That Muto STS 24-inch roll printer alone, you're looking at like 7. I mean, there's white toner laser printers that are in that range. Mm-hmm. And then we recently came out, actually this month, the beginning of this month, we just dropped our in-house desktop DTF printer. So that one, you're looking at machine at 3K out the door. It's not the fastest horse in the race, but for people with that kind of budget to be able to, maybe graduate from the heat transfer vinyl or your inkjet heat transfer papers, I mean, the learning curve is not bad. I mean, you print your image, you apply the powder, you dry the powder. If you have just a heat press, or if you get, one of those little ovens, a lot of different ways you can do it. So very user friendly. So it's become a lot more accessible, I would say, I've seen over the last year.
Absolutely. So, we talked a lot about direct to film, direct to garment. What other printers do you guys offer?
So I would say at least another one of my focuses is definitely sublimation. If we can operate in those fabric rules, for those of you who are not dye sublimators out there, you want to have a white fabric or a very light colored material because there's no white in sublimation printing with a CMYK. Additionally, fabric-wise, you do want a high percentage of polyester. So your athletic apparel, your all-over prints, the cycling uniforms, the motocross jerseys, that's usually what you're seeing is dye sub there. So that's one route to go. But with dye sublimation, I feel there's huge opportunity in the hard surface products. I mean, drinkware. You see any coffee cup everywhere, that's sublimation. That's probably our best-selling sublimation blank product, that 11-ounce straight wall. Drinkware is huge. I personally have always been a big fan of photo panels with the white background. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. They're almost impossible to mess up. If you have a decent, resolution photo, you're going to get a great final product. They make awesome gifts. They make great home decor. I do have one in my apartment right now. So photo panels are awesome. But yeah, sublimation, I would say, would be another focus. What I do really want to learn next, I'd say a goal of mine is, I would say, UV printing. It's something we offer, but I am not as familiar with. So that's something I'm excited about. I don't really know as much about that. So we'll save that for the next episode to chop up in depth. But that would be my goal, I'd say.
Right.
Yes, sir.
But I mean, aside from that, we try to cover all our bases. Solvent is definitely also another huge market. Your print and cut, your vehicle wraps, printable vinyl, things like that, decals. So there's always going to be a big market for that. I'm kind of a JDM kind of car guy a bit. So those decals you'll see like on the reflective materials, those are super popular. And, I follow a bunch of Instagram accounts that's their focus, and they're killing it, with these 24, 44-inch printers, international customer base, with e-commerce and the right printing equipment and good artwork. Like, I'm going to stress that this whole podcast. If you have that, you're already halfway there.
Sure.
What artwork do you recommend that they turn in? I know what you're looking for, but could you go in a little bit more as far as that artwork?
Absolutely. PNG and TIFF graphics, those are going to be ideal. Those typically don't have backgrounds. So your artwork, your products, it's going to look like a design. It's not going to look like a big rectangle. Not that there's anything wrong with JPEGs. Customers are always going to bring us their Google images, their iPhone photos, and as long as they're not screenshots, we can still, the cameras on these things are getting nuts, man. I've done broadcasts with this, since I've got it. So as long as it's not screenshots, JPEGs are totally fine too. My preference for best results, again, PNG, TIFF graphics, 300 DPI and above. And then people should be able to produce the same kind of stuff we do with our samples in person at the trade shows.
So hypothetically speaking, man, I'm new. I got a $5,000 budget. What you gonna have me walk out the door with?
We said 5K?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
5K. Who do you have a target market? Who are we going after? You got the anyone in the music fields, in the sports community?
Yeah, we'll go for the music, man.
Okay, awesome. If we're going with 5K, I would definitely probably set you up with that desktop DTF. If you're just getting started, speed should not be our main concern. I say quality because we're establishing our name. So I would say that, with that kind of budget, also the learning curve with that kind of machine. I mean, like we said, it's really just printing the film, waiting for it to come out. You're applying the powder. If you guys have been on our YouTube, Print Supply Co. on youtube.com, I got a lot of content on this. You really get the film, cascade a light layer over it. Before I dry it, I do flick the film a little bit. A couple reasons. I only want the powder on the wet ink. That's all I want to apply. All that extra powder, I can reuse that. So this is a very cost-effective printing method as well, especially compared to the quality and washability of the final product. And then you dry it. If you only have a heat press, you can hover cure these. And then you have transfers that you can store for months. Folks online are saying over a year. And then you can also keep your printer running by offering these transfers as a service in your community. You're not going to have a minimum. You're not going to have a lead time. You're going to have quick turnaround. And then your customers are going to be able to build their business. So, I mean, it's great for one of us to make it, but we can help all of us make it. That's, great karma. It's good energy. It's good for the community. There's enough pie for all of us, for sure.
Absolutely.
DTF, you said so about a year, man. Now I actually have some DTF transfers that are about a year old, man. Now I gotta go test them.
Hey, you know what? If you kept them indoors, away from high heat, away from low humidity, basically indoors where you would want your actual printer, then it's highly likely they're still going to apply. Just follow your recommended instructions there. But that's another great thing about the direct-to-film.
For sure.
Is there anything that direct-to-film or direct-to-garment can't print on?
You know what? I haven't tested metal. I've done hard surface. I've done wood, done ceramic, packaging materials, brims of caps. I mean, material-wise, this has not applied successfully to anything that I've thrown at it. Now, with those more sensitive, more synthetic materials, I mean, polyester, if you think about it, if you break it down, it's really woven plastic that we wear. Things like the windbreakers, the nylons, maybe have a higher sensitivity level. So with those, I would just say maybe lower our settings. To touch on that, I usually apply on most material at about 320, 330 for the polys, the nylons, the rayons, things that are, like I said, more sensitive. I drop that down to just below 300, maybe increase my time a little bit. But, I mean, the easy answer is always going to be test, test, test. My workspace here is going to be different from yours. It's going to be different from hers. So that's going to be the best way. But we can definitely kind of guide you, give you the recommended settings and things like that, and go from there.
You do a lot of live demos. Hey man, how do you keep energized? Because I think you did like 3 one time. Like, he just did one. He's doing another one. Oh my! And then he's doing another one. Like, what's the keys to that? I need some of that energy, that focus.
Well, first off, we get a shout out to Rain Energy. That's probably part of my breakfast every morning. That's a fan favorite around here. Just kidding, unless they want to sponsor us. But no, honestly, you become a lot more comfortable, when you know what you're talking about, when you know how to connect people, and it's been a lot of practice, a lot of repetition. You get that repetition is the mother of any skill. My mentor told me that over 10 years ago, something I always carry with me. So that's definitely a big part of it. But I'd say mainly I'm very fortunate with the team that, we've built around this operation and this company and business. We support each other. We're there for each other. And, I'm smiling the whole time I'm doing those demos, man. So I'm having a great time. I get to travel the country with my best friends and, enjoy success, growth with each other. And, it's like a family at this point. So I definitely got to give a lot of credit to, my team that's around me for really any success you see me enjoying.
Man, that's pretty cool, man. It sounds like you don't see it. You don't have a job. You have you have fun.
Yeah. Vin Diesel, yeah. I got friends. I got family.
Yeah, man. So can we go a little bit into some advice, man? Like, just tell us some advice you have for anybody trying to get into this.
Yeah, absolutely. And, this was told to me. I would say, don't try to be everything to everyone. Try and focus, and channel where your passions are, where your targets are, into the market that you want to be involved in. If this is something that you want to be a moneymaker, something you want to be a part of your life, I'd say happiness and money. It's going to be like that, straight up end of the day. And if you can have them both rising together, then you're doing it. So I would say try and have a niche or a market or a target. A lot of us, we're not really moving with the most aim or direction. If you have a direction, you're already so much farther ahead of a lot of the competition. So I would say, if you're a basketball fan, there's so many opportunities there. Maybe motocross or, cars are your thing. Find something that you have some familiarity with or something you're passionate about, and you go there and you're going to connect with these people, in a way someone coming in as an outsider won't. So you already have a leg up there, and you build on that, And then, another thing I've always seen that has at least attracted me to brands that I've never heard of, maybe have some kind of reference to something like, all right, we're going to dive into it. I'm a huge Laker fan. And if I see a brand and they've got I've never heard of, but they got something Kobe, they got something purple and yellow, I'm going to look at that shirt. I might buy that shirt just because of that. Sure. And now I'm looking at your whole collection. And as long as you have something of substance there, you got a new fan, you got a new customer. At the very least, you got a new follow on your Instagram account. So have your target market. And then aside from your original artwork, definitely don't copyright infringe. You don't ever want to go down that road. You don't want those problems. You don't want to be dealing with those companies. But homages or themes, maybe like one per collection. That's something that, I've gotten this question throughout the years. So I'd say don't try to be everything to everyone. Try to have a target, try to have a niche, try to have a direction, and then an homage piece, one per collection. You already know all your original stuff's going to take off when you get there. That one homage piece can be what helps, speed that up. And if we don't break any rules, we don't steal anybody's artwork, everybody wins.
For sure. Which is the stealing of artwork, man. It's sad how much.
It's getting wild out there.
Yeah, period. Yeah, so I looked at your website. You have a heat transfer printer. What is that? Or what is that?
So we have a few machines that I would put under the heat transfer printing category. A big seller for us is going to be the Uninets, the white toner laser. They had such a huge campaign last year. I don't know, all the YouTubers were, running transfers on that, and that was great for the whole industry, everybody who was moving Uninets, and, they're awesome. They do so many different things. Another one, I would still categorize the DTF, especially our desktop model, because that's preparing heat transfers. At the end of the day, direct-to-film is a heat transfer. Maybe we're using a high-tech printhead from the Epson DTG. Maybe we got that awesome Japanese-built Muto STS. But at the end of the day, we're preparing transfers, and they're applied by heat. So that's why we're able to, like I said, store them for later use, apply them out of the press, send them to someone else where they can apply them. So I'd say those would probably be the main heat transfer printers, at least as far as what we offer. And those range in different sizes.
So what all products do you guys offer, aside from the printers and things of that nature?
So we also cater to the vinyl cutting room. We're a proud authorized distributor of the Caesar North America heat transfer vinyl. Big fans of those guys. They're a great company. So their product does really well for us. We got the Cameo cutters. We got the big Cameo cutters. We got the Graphtex. Last year, we started launching distribution on Suma. They got some awesome technology under the hood of those cutters. If you don't know about them yet, you will. I would put those up against any cutter out there on the market in a quality or speed race. And like I said, we got our start with silkscreen. That's still a market we cater to heavily today. My Philadelphia location back east, they have a lot of that there. So conveyor dryers, manual presses, automated presses, the big honking octopus machines we see on the trade show floors, flash cures. And, with the direct-to-film printing of some of these machines that maybe more focused on that type of printing are getting more opportunities to excel in other sorts of printing avenues. But, I got a T-shirt folder that'll fold a shirt so gosh darn fast. I got a bagger, pre-treat equipment.
Oh, is that I don't mean to cut you off. Is that automated, the T-shirt folder?
It does require an air compressor, but yes, it does. We have a folding and a bagging mode. Basically, you place the garment from youth up to like 3, 4X, hit the pedal, and it'll fold it. And then the little platen in the back is weighted, so it can stack dozens consecutively. The bagging mode is my favorite. It's going to actually fold it and prop it up at like a 45-degree angle. You got your poly mailer, boom. We did a fun video last year when we got the machine. I was on the T-shirt folder. Rena was on the manual hand folding. And then my boy Vince, you probably met before, he was on the folding plastic board. Well, Rena smoked him on the board. And then I did pretty good myself. So the T-shirt folder with me just tapping, I won. And then with those guys running full speed for 10 minutes straight, they didn't do bad. But yeah, I mean, if you have that kind of production volume, if you have a lot of distribution, you have someone on payroll who's doing that, you know, for some businesses, it's going to be a big time and money saver.
Yeah, man. I saw that. I saw one of those at the impression show. That machine is pretty awesome. Pretty awesome.
I agree. And regular US 110 electrical.
I would have never guessed that.
Yeah, just need the air compressor separate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
And then pad printing, you know, that's another line of equipment that we offer. More novelty or more niche, I would say. Smaller print application areas, but you can pad print onto so many different things. Golf balls, pens. People use this for neck labeling, sleeves embellishment, stuff like that. We got some rhinestone equipment on the website. And the UV. Again, that's really what I want to learn next, just because I don't really know as much about it. We have more of our tech side and more of my East Coast reps that kind of specialize in those leads, those inquiries. But UV printing just seems like another really limitless printing method.
You know, when you guys drop it, you got to come and debut it here first on Squad Creative Podcast. Please, we'd be honored. How many different locations do you guys have?
So our first location back in '86 is actually the original Heinz Ketchup building back east in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I'm in Buena Park, California, Southern Cali, Orange County. Like I said, right by Disneyland, right by Knott's Berry Farm. And then 2 summers ago, we launched our third location. It's about half an hour from DFW Airport. It's in the city of Carrollton. But man, that building is brand new. It is gorgeous. We had a little open house after Graphics Pro Expo Irving about a month or so ago. It was a really nice turnout. Had some of our reps from Epson there. Basically, all the folks and friends we made it the week before in Irving. Big turnout for that. Got some prize giveaways. Got a lot of coverage of that on the YouTube. But, yeah, 3 locations currently. And, yeah.
So on your website, you guys carry a lot of Muto products. That's how you pronounce it, right?
Yes, correct.
So, and you said that was for what is it, China?
No, Muto is a Japanese company, so their whole line of machines are Japanese designed. We were talking about this before. You know, we know where their quality standards are. We know what that means as far as, you know, what you can expect from your equipment, from your support, and from a warranty standpoint. So yeah, they're a Japanese company. They cover a lot of different, you know, bases as well. They have sublimation equipment. They got a 24-inch solvent printer. They have a UV machine, and then they got that awesome DTF printer.
Yeah. I'm looking there. Like you have, I see you guys. You definitely back it for sure. It's a lot of different products on there.
So, how do you guys get prepped for these shows? Like the because y'all travel a lot. So, like, if you run down what that all entails.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We give a big shout out to our coordinator Sula. You know, she really, you know, takes the reins on that as far as organizing with getting us the best booth location, making sure freight is on time, making sure things are picked up when they're supposed to, and making sure that we have everything we need and then a little bit extra on the side. Wow. So it's, you know, like I said, and one of those things that just gets better and easier with repetition. You know, you become familiar with these people because, you know, folks who are organizing these events, there's only a few major promotions that put on these trade shows throughout the United States. Mm-hmm. And, you know, when you're doing good at what they ask of you, you know, they remember you. So, you know, it's good treatment we get. You know, we try to show the respect and love back. But you know, red eye flights sometimes. But, you know, whatever it takes. Like, we got a strong team. We support each other, and wouldn't happen if we didn't have all of us together.
Yeah, and like I like how you keep referring back to your team, man. You guys, like you said,
that's a family. It's definitely a family vibe. Can I be a part of the family?
Hey, Mike, you're already fan, bro. You're already fan, Mike.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I want to know about your day, man. What's a typical day for you?
Okay, so if I'm not on the road and it's not a Monday, come in. First thing is emails. Did any of my leads get back to me? Does anyone need any information? Who commented on YouTube that needs a reply to? And then we're big fans of this platform for kind of organizing tasks, communicating within our teams called Asana. Rena, she makes sure that we have everything nice and organized. I can see who I'm collaborating with on what my roles, what my duties are on that particular subtask. So that's something that's really trying to help keep me organized personally, I would say. We have a lot of inter-department, inter-branch communication via Slack. So that's a very useful communication tool for making sure everybody's on the same page. So kind of checking all of those things, seeing what needs to get done on that day. I like to do, Mike, you already know I love to do demos. So I try to take the reins on those if someone wants to come into my branch to see the equipment in action. When I started, it was a lot of over-the-phone sales. I've really transitioned into a lot more of a marketing role in my time here. I feel it's what I'm really strongly suited towards, and I'm much more effective in person or via Zoom. But, things like that, I like people. I consider myself a people person. I feel very fortunate for the people that I'm around, the people we get to do business with. So that makes a world of difference right there. But, come in, check the emails, see what needs my attention immediately. See what needs to get going for that week. Do we have a show that week? Do I have something I need to prepare for? And then from there, we try to have a lot of consistency with our YouTube channel. The algorithm, they love to see that. They want to see consistency. They want to see the right tags and the right engagement. So, that's definitely a team effort there. I got the best shooter in the business. Eugen films all of our content. And, we work together making sure that things are chaptered out correctly or the descriptions are on point and to the point. So she's helped me a lot with that. So, yeah, I'm going to keep saying it, man. It's totally a team effort, a lot of communication, a lot of collaboration. And that's how things get done.
That's definitely key.
It is. Especially in the world of YouTube. Just this algorithm, like you said, is a beast. So keeping up with it. That's one of the
doing our best. We're doing our best, man. And then to that, also shout out to Jason Kim. He's another one of our videographers, mainly out of Texas. That's my boy. He does a lot more of our kind of techie side of more instructional kind of videos. So between that and what we got pumping over here on the West Coast, like I said, very lucky.
Yeah, man.
Not only do you guys offer affordable machineries as far as direct-to-film, direct-to-garment, vinyls, you guys also do a lot of raffles, a lot of giving back to the people. Could you speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So, especially at the open houses, those are some that are really fun for us. And the way those usually go is we're fortunate enough to have some of these conventions, these trade shows, these things that draw in thousands of people, in our industry in one place. And if we happen to have a branch near there, it would be a disservice to ourselves to not try and capitalize on that, market that, at least educate on that, make sure that the resources we have available are known. So the folks who are willing to come and hang out with us a following weekend, we got to show our appreciation, our love for that. So if it's a store credit, usually we'll have like three prizes, maybe a grand prize, depending on what the event is or what we have going on, how long the open house is, but things like that. Because if we help them, if their business grows, that's going to help our business grow. So their success is our success at the end of the day. So anything we can do to kind of speed that along, build that up, build that faith, that trust in each other. It's all teamwork.
And I was just thinking about, you said the company was established in 86. That's 36 years ago.
That's right.
Like that, it shows the type of business and that the family element had to be strong for that to last, man. That's pretty dope.
Guys are
absolutely. We got some OGs at the Philadelphia branch who've been with us for decades. Still holding it down, keeping things running, keeping the lights on, make sure everybody has what they need. Like I said, Texas branch, that's our most recent location. Shout out to Chad. He makes sure everything's running over there, nice and tidy. So we're just very fortunate with the people that we've been able to bring in, the people that have stayed, and the team we've been able to build around us.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So, man, I just want to say, like, we've talked screen print, DTF, I'm sorry, I was right, jot notes. So we talked screen print, DTF, DTG, sublimation. Let me ask about sublimation before. So what do you suggest the beginning sublimation printer?
So when I got into the industry more on the digital side, like I mentioned earlier, kind of more on an educational basis, that's where I started kind of the YouTube, the Facebook Lives with the programming and everything. I was a big fan of the Sawgrass printers. I think they're great. What I started seeing additionally from that was a lot of people were converting small format Epson desktop inkjets. And I think what Epson saw from that is like, hey, we can make a sublimation printer that'll have a warranty that's going to work just as good. You don't have to, put third-party ink in it. So I'd say the beginning of last year, we saw the release of the Epson F170.
Yeah.
$399, 8.5 wide sublimation printer, does your letter, does your legal, but the ink pricing, my goodness, it's a fraction of what's costing on the market, and it's OEM. So you have that Epson support, that Epson warranty, the Epson backing behind the product. I mean, it's not the biggest horse in the race for sure, but I mean, we have a customer. He runs multiple. What he does is he prints multiple letter sheets. He tiles them. He has a big heat press, but he's got multiple small printers, and he does full all over beautiful memorial or celebration tees. And he's got decent artwork. So these things, they pop. And if you can operate, like I said, in those fabric rules of sublimation, which again, white or very light material and as high a percentage of polyester as possible, ideally 100 for best results, you can make a permanent lasting transfer on that garment that's never going to leave. You're not going to feel it. So that's, I would say, even if you're not thinking about jumping into sublimation, maybe you're more on the other side of things. With the cost of the equipment, the cost of the ink, I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't offer that as an additional service. I was just talking to Rena yesterday about an article for our upcoming newsletter, which we have monthly on the website. If you guys haven't checked that out yet, aprintsupplyco.com, we got a monthly newsletter. I have an article coming out where if you're not doing sublimation yet, why aren't you? So if you're a t-shirt printer, if you're a garment decorator, you give your biggest customer, oh, hey, I made you this mug with your artwork. This is a sample. Some other thing you can offer. Here's a keychain. Here's a dog tag. Here's a mouse pad. These little low-cost items, hard surface products, because, again, that's where I really feel the true value is, because polyester is awesome, especially for the capabilities that sublimation allows us to do with it. But for the most part, people want black cotton T-shirts. So, I mean, that's what we see for the most part in our industry. If you're, music, sports, automotive, things like that, that's, what we see for the most part. So, something you could definitely offer to expand your current product listing, offer more to your customers.
For sure. Sublimation, like as far as t-shirts go, man, Silky Socks is changing the game with the t-shirts and with the garment. Yeah, they have their shirts are, I think they are 6.8 ounces or so, maybe a little more. I can't remember for sure, but they're changing the game because they're not the see-through. They're not the summer see my muscle t-shirt anymore. So,
summer see my muscle t-shirt.
It obscures the sun. You can see all your skin and stuff.
Yeah.
Silky Socks is changing the game with that, man. Shout out Donish over there, but
yeah. Esteban, what separates you guys from other companies?
So, like I said, there's a select number of us who are selling the line of equipment that we sell. The way we try to separate ourselves, I would say, again, is going to be the energy that we bring to everything we do. And then also what we like to call the AA advantage. We talked about my screen print background. I work with folks who've had print shops or have worked in print shops. Vince, he kind of came over with me from our last employer with, more on the educational base, kind of more on the entry level sort of products and things. But, we definitely got a good feel for everything. So we're not just going to be showing you how to turn your printer on and send the job. We have comprehensive, multi-layered tier support on really every part of the process, even down to your business pricings and things like that. So it's not just, okay, turn on the printer and send it. Really try to cover all bases, because if you only know one part, you're only going to be making one fraction of what you could be. And where otherwise, if you have a comprehensive knowledge, you're going to be able to attack your revenue, attack your customer base, your market, everything more completely. So that's definitely something I would say there. And then I think we definitely try to put emphasis on not just on educational content, but on enjoyable educational content. Because, I mean, it's like I said, it's not the most exciting stuff in the world. We're not watching the X Games. But if we can keep you engaged to where you're retaining this information, and I use too many words when I talk to everybody. Guilty. I got it from my dad. But I try to reinforce and use different words to say the same thing, because it's going to stick. Because I know that's what helps me. the retention. And if I can, have a good smile and, make sure that we're having a good time while we're doing it, then, it's not just learning. We're having fun together and we're growing.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Sure, for sure. So in conclusion, like we've talked about DTF, DTG, sublimation, all this stuff. Your history, which I find is amazing, man. Like I love to hear the stories of these companies that have become staples in the industry.
Absolutely.
And my last question for you is, man, personally, how do you feel about working for a company that's been around for 36 years?
I feel very lucky. I feel very secure. I'm not in a brand new business that's, trying to get their foot off the ground. I'm not here to start up. I'm 34 years old. I'm not in college. I don't live with my parents. So I need stability, to be my very best self. So having that equity, that establishment, that brand value, I would say, for how long we have been established, in the industry as a business, as a team, it's a great source of comfort. That's one less thing I need to worry about in my day-to-day. It helps me focus more on what needs to get done and helps me. I think what you're asking is what helps me operate at the highest level possible and at the same time allow me to continue to grow and learn. So at the core of that, I feel lucky. I feel so fortunate.
Yeah. Man, you definitely the truth there, man.
Wow.
So where can we find you?
All right, guys. First off, I'm going to direct you over to the YouTube. You're going to type in AA Print Supply Co. And when you get there, hit the red subscribe button. And there's a little bell. You ring that, tap that too. You'll never miss any of our videos. We try to be super active on our Instagram. That's really a big platform we're seeing blowing. Well, Instagram's Instagram. I don't got to tell you guys about IG. AA Print Supply Co. on there as well. Our newest addition or entry into the social media is definitely going to be the TikTok. I'm definitely not a dancer by any means, but, Rena gives us some good choreography and inspiration to try and follow, so we try not to let her down. But on TikTok, at AA Print Supply Co. Really, any of your socials, you can find us on there. Again, we try to have a fun approach at the same time, educating and informing, but, you got to keep your audience's attention. These platforms, they're getting smaller and smaller, and the kids' attention span, it's like this. Like, how long are these TikToks sometimes? Like, was it Vine, like a 10-second upload? So, you got a short window of opportunity. If you're talking to a girl, if you're robbing a bank, if you're making a sale, you got to get in and get out, or, the opportunity's lost. Man. So you got to try and make a strong first impression and then have substance behind it to keep them.
I was great.
So you have been rocking with the squad. It's your boy Mike Tees, one half of the Squad Creator Podcast.
Man, I'm Seak, Parris, the other half of the Squad Creators Podcast, and we brought on. I'm a butcher this probably. We brought on a special guest today, Estevan Romero. Did I say it right?
Nailed it. And that's right. Estevan Romero with All American Print Supply here chopping it up with the Squad Creative Podcast on the TSH Network.
Man, thank you.
Hey, thank you both gentlemen so much. This is a blast. We got to do this again sometime. Yeah. Everybody, I guess it is. Head over to the website. We got a concert or event calendar. You can see all the upcoming trade shows. We got a lot more coming up this year. So you can see we're coming to a city near you. Come out and visit us in person. If you're in the California, Texas, Pennsylvania area, we'd love to have you in for a demonstration. You can come see any of this equipment in person, answer any questions you may have. But, Matt, thank you guys for your time. Again, really appreciate the opportunity to come on, chop it up with you guys. I had a lot of fun.